In the days when judges ruled the land, when Israel was restless and uncertain, there was a famine in Bethlehem. A woman named Naomi lived there with her husband and 2 sons. As the land dried up and food became scarce, they made a hard choice to leave their home and journey to Moab, a foreign land, hoping to find enough to survive. For a time they did, but tragedy followed them across the border. Naomi's husband died, leaving her far from home, a widow in a strange land. Her sons married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth, and for a moment, hope flickered again. Then one by one, the sons died too. Naomi was left with no husband, no children, and no future she could see. When Naomi heard that the famine in Bethlehem had ended, she decided to return home. 3 widows began the journey together, but along the road Naomi stopped. "My daughters," she said, "go back. I have nothing left to give you. No security, no promise, only sorrow." Orpah wept, embraced Naomi, and turned back toward the life she knew. But Ruth stayed. Naomi urged her again, but Ruth answered with devotion, stronger than fear. "Where you go, I will go. Where you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." And with that choice, Ruth left behind her past and stepped into a future she did not understand. Naomi and Ruth arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. The town stirred with whispers. "Is this Naomi?" Naomi answered with honesty born of pain. "Do not call me Naomi, pleasant. Call me Mara, bitter. I left full, I returned empty." But she was not truly empty. To survive, Ruth went out to glean in the fields, gathering leftover grain meant for the poor and the foreigner. She entered a field belonging to a man named Boaz. Boaz noticed her hard work, her humility, in the story of her loyalty to Naomi. He chose kindness. He protected Ruth, provided food, and treated her with dignity. And quietly, hope began to grow again. Naomi recognized what was happening. Boaz was a redeemer, a man with the right and the willingness to restore what had been lost. Through wisdom, patience, and courage, Ruth stepped forward in trust. Boaz accepted the responsibility. Before witnesses, he redeemed Ruth, took her as his wife, and gave her a place among God's people. The foreigner was no longer an outsider. She was home. So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. And the scripture says, "So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went in unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son." Ruth 4:13, KJV. The child was not only a gift to Ruth, he was a gift to Naomi. The women of Bethlehem gathered around her and said, "Blessed be the Lord, which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel." Ruth 4:14, KJV. They spoke words Naomi may never have imagined hearing again. "And he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, and a nourisher of thine old age. For thy daughter-in-law, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, hath borne him." Ruth 4:15, KJV. Naomi took the child, laid him in her bosom, and became his nurse. And Naomi took the child, and laid it in her bosom, and became nurse unto it. Ruth 4:16, KJV. The women of the town named him Obed, saying, "There is a son born to Naomi." Ruth 4:17, KJV. And the story did not end there, for the scripture continues, "And Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David." Ruth 4:17, KJV. Naomi, who once said, "I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me home again empty," now held proof that God had been working all along. Ruth, the foreigner, the widow, the woman who chose faithfulness on a dusty road, became part of the lineage of a king, and generations later, part of the story that would lead to the Messiah. This is how God redeems, not always through power, but through loyalty, not through spectacle, but through love that stays. And sometimes the greatest restoration begins with a woman who refuses to walk away. Boaz took Ruth as his wife, and she bore a son. Naomi, who had once felt her life was empty, held the child in her arms and felt her heart fill with joy once more. The women of Bethlehem gathered around, rejoicing in the restoration of Naomi's life.
Oh, what a beautiful
This child, Obed, became a symbol of hope,
Eyes.
a reminder that even in the darkest seasons, life and love can return. Naomi smiled through tears, knowing that God's hand had been guiding her all along. Obed grew up surrounded by love. To Naomi, he was more than a grandchild. He was proof that God's plan could transform loss into life. The quiet decisions of Ruth, her loyalty, her courage, her love, had created ripples that would echo across generations. Through Obed, the story of redemption began to take shape. Even in a world that seemed harsh and unpredictable, the small acts of faithfulness held tremendous power. Ruth's choice to stay with Naomi had changed everything. It was a choice not born of obligation, but of love and faith. Through her example, everyone who knew their story learned that true loyalty is rare and transformative. It is found in the courage to remain when it would be easier to walk away, and in the willingness to trust in something larger than oneself. Boaz, through his honor and wisdom, became the redeemer of Ruth and Naomi. He ensured their safety, provided for them, and embraced the responsibilities required by their culture and by love. Redemption does not always arrive instantly. It often comes through patience, courage, and trust in what is right. Through Boaz, Ruth, and Naomi, we see that what is lost can be restored and hope can flourish in the most unexpected ways. From Ruth and Boaz came Obed. From Obed came Jesse. And from Jesse came David, the greatest king of Israel. The faithfulness of one young woman, walking beside a grieving mother-in-law, set in motion a chain of events that would shape history. Naomi, once bitter and full of sorrow, saw God's plan unfold in ways she could never have imagined. Her story became a testament that even in loss, faithfulness can bring restoration and joy.